Good morning.
Good morning, Lord.
Hey, how you doing, Ruby?
Doing good.
Good deal.
Ruby.
I'll be sharing my screen.
Hello.
Thanks.
I'm gonna.
Are you on a call?
What's that, Lloyd?
Okay, so it's Colin and the other community
Yeah,
development.
I didn't. I knew Melissa was out, so I started the meeting and
Thank you.
I'm gonna make sure if Ruby's gonna stay, I want to make sure she's gonna be able to be a co-host, or if she's not the host.
Or you can make me the co-host.
Right? Yeah, let me figure it out because I need to try and get some things. And I'm not sure you need me here for all of this,
Right.
but you can always call me and tell me.
Colin,
Ruby?
I can just reclaim host.
Yeah, please do.
Okay. You're good. And hit leave, don't hit end.
I won't. All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All righty. Bye. Yell if you
Morning,
need me.
Joseph. We are recording this, correct, Ruby?
Yes, it's recording.
Okay.
Do you need anything from me other than just here?
I know I wanted to share the recording with Danielle Butler. She asked about it.
Okay.
You send me the link when you have it.
Okay, we'll do.
Thank you. Joseph, how are you?
Hey, good morning, Lloyd. How you
Nice
doing?
to see your face. You can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, looks good.
All right, so this is the collaborative application that we'll be working with. Good morning, Nicole. Welcome.
Good morning.
Glad to have you with us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Give people another couple of minutes. Hope everybody's having a good Friday and we'll have a good weekend. Supposed to be cooling off, what, Monday?
I think it's supposed to cool off like Saturday, Sunday. I know today is supposed to be really hot, like up to 99.
Yeah, well, I'm walking to and from home to work, but summer is hot, and we've had our share. Gratefully, it hasn't been as hot here as some other parts of the country, but it's been plenty hot.
Yes, make sure you drink lots of water.
I am. Good morning, Ricky.
Hey, good morning.
All right. Thanks for joining us. We're going to start here, I think, at 10:02 on my clock. And thanks to Ruby, and Community Development Analyst for being our host today. Appreciate everybody's participation in this effort. All right, it's 10:02, so I am Lloyd Schmeidler, the coordinator or lead writer for the Durham Continuum of Care's collaborative application. Thanks for joining this collaborative application preparation session. The basic agenda for these meetings is to accept recommendations, suggestions for improving, updating the collaborative application for 2023, so that we have a strong collaborative application that might help us get more funding from HUD in the annual Continuum of Care collaborative Continuum of Care competition. The first item on our agenda is to see if anybody has any specific suggestions for improving or updating any portion of the collaborative application. I'll take any suggestions from those who are participating on the call. And once we've accepted those, we will begin to review other specific sections of the collaborative application that I want to review with you. By way of updating, we have not been able to do any real updating since our last meeting of this group on August 11th, I believe it was. Quite honestly, I was out of the office the 14th, 15th, and 16th of last week. We also had some challenges with power outages, as you'll recall, last week. And this week I've been largely busy with managing the scoring process, getting the scoring process underway for the project applications that at least I know Ricky and perhaps Jill were involved with. So we do plan to get back to updating the collaborative application starting next week as we can, and hope to have a better draft of it for this group's consideration at our September 8th meeting, and then hopefully between September 8th and September 22nd, have a final draft for kind of overview. So with that, by way of introduction to anybody on the call, looks like there's 5 of us currently. Anybody have specific suggestions based on anything that you've reviewed in the collaborative application thus far that you want to propose?
Well, I wouldn't say this is a suggestion, it's more of a question. For section 1C, 4C,
Let me go to there.
1C, 4C, I think it's on page 11.
One C4, getting there. 1C5, 1C5 pretty long. 1C, okay, here's section 1C, 1C4. Here's 4A.
There it is.
Formal partnership.
Wait, is that it? No, that's 1C4A. Okay, so go down. Keep scrolling.
4B, 4C.
Yes, here it is.
Right.
Okay, so I was wondering if there were any particular guidance around what an other formal agreement may be. In the previous section, the application talks about ensuring that CoC projects, connect families with children to appropriate educational services, including Head Start, early Head Start, pre-K, blah, 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 right? And then, it talks about like shelters and housing providers being required per the CoC written policy to make sure that families with children are referred to the McKinney-Vento program in Durham Public Schools. So I was wondering, since we mentioned that, is it possible that for some of the items in this chart, while there is no MOU, could we say that our CoC written policy is like an other formal agreement? Like, would we be able to say yes for early Head Start or yes for Head Start because it is in our CoC policy? Thoughts?
Okay, appreciate the question. I'm pulled up the detailed instructions for this question. It says examples of formal written agreements include MOUs, MOAs. Examples of other types of agreements include but are not limited to agreements to attend each other's planning meetings or conduct formal training, cross-training, or coordinating housing in a joint rapid rehousing pilot program that includes early childhood services and support for families, and support and document referral processes between coordinated entry providers and early childhood services and supportive services providers. So I think your suggestion is that what we have in our written documents, policies and procedures could be suggested of support and documenting referral processes between coordinated entry and early childhood services and supportive services providers, right?
Yeah, and I don't know if this is something that is tracked in coordinated entry. It looks like Nicole just dropped off, but like, you know, if they are tracking it, then I'm gonna say that's a formal agreement.
Okay.
But
Yep, interesting.
but you know, it's just a suggestion, because I feel
No,
like
yeah,
for some of these, you know, maybe we take it less literal and think about how, you know, our CoC does operate and interact with each other.
right.
I don't know. What do you think, Joe?
But let me just, my quick preface here is that when I was at UMD, my role was not government grants. So this is all this is more my learning experience. So I'm really just mainly listening at this point to get grounded in these grants. So
Sure. Yeah, well, and this is really Joe, to help you get oriented, and thanks for jumping in the pool with us. Whether or not you feel like you can swim, we won't let you drown, believe me. I think based on the directions here, the detailed instructions, I think Ricky, you're right that we can suggest that we have other formal agreements. We would say with particularly early Head Start or early childhood providers.
Yeah, my thought was, and these are just thoughts, you know, we could say early Head Start, we could say Head Start, and you've already noted public pre-K, but since CoC agencies are, you know, required to do that, you know, per our standards, I think it's not too much of a stretch to say that there's another formal agreement, because we're all held to operating by that standard for the CoC in regards to, you know, childhood services and education.
Gotcha. All right, that sounds good. Interestingly, the detailed instructions also say your CoC is only required to have a formal agreement with the federal agency in element 5, and I read element 5 to be federal home visiting program. So I think we'll probably say yes to early Head Start, and 5, the federal home visiting program, because that's.
Do we have that?
I think it's probably under DSS.
Ooh, anybody here from
check.
DSS? Anybody on the call from DSS?
I'll check about whether we have that. Gordon no longer at DSS. I think Larry Little is going to be my contact person. But I appreciate those suggestions that will help us strengthen this part of the application.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
like it just doesn't look good to have like no's everywhere,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like anywhere we can have a yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. And that's so I appreciate your highlighting that for us. And there was another section, there has been some dialogue back and forth, I think, about whether the family collaborative between Partnership for Children and Urban Ministries and
Yeah,
families moving forward, and how the
Yeah.
envelope is continuing. And the last I've heard is that it is continuing. So
great.
we're gonna put, maybe you've been saying that, and we'll continue that. So very good. Other suggestions, Ricky?
Hold on. Now, I had just started, just being honest with this group, I had just started looking at the information for survivors of domestic violence, intimate partner violence. But I haven't done a deep dive with it. So I just browsed it. It looks okay. Like, is that what we do? I guess is my question.
Well,
Like, as a
yeah, I
system.
mean, again, we have to do some significant updating. I want to confirm that is Nicole jumped back on the call?
I'm here.
Okay, Nicole, can you confirm that we're still using the HEART tool, humiliation, afraid, rape, kick tool at through coordinated entry?
Yes, we are.
Very good. We do have, so we'll update this. I'll be working with Jeffrey Rawlings to coordinate this. I think 1C5B, which I'm scrolling through now. We tried to provide annual trainings, and I know there's been appreciate the input in the project applications regarding trainings that our CoC recipients have been providing to their staffs around trauma-informed care, et cetera. So, Nicole, does coordinated entry staff address best?
Yep, we have the training we usually do is the trauma-informed care training. We've done mental health first aid, we've done the first aid CPR, and I do have another training the team is going through with for sexual assault and DV.
Great. Is there any possibility of opening those trainings to the CoC as a whole?
Yeah,
Going
what
forward?
I can definitely send. I go through the SAM HSA training, and it's free webinars, and
Right.
that's what I have my team doing, and they get the certificates. So
Okay,
definitely I can send that information.
great. Yeah, it'd be great, I think, to be able to say, that we're that the CoC is making those trainings available to and encouraging participation.
Yep, and I know Street Outreach Team's been doing it too, so I will definitely, yes, I will
Okay.
send that.
Great, thank you. That will be helpful. Right, and this, we can reference SAMHSA trainings as being our go-to trainings. Again, we don't need to feel like we need to reinvent the wheel as far as I'm concerned. Can take advantage of really, and particularly to help people get certifications through SAMHSA is a plus for them as well.
Hey, good morning. Good
Update
morning,
that.
everybody. I was just going to say good morning again. Happy Friday. To add to that, Lloyd, VOA will be offering moral injury as a training as well, specifically to our veterans that we house, but also we will open it up to the CoC if that is something that you all feel that would be necessary for CoC collaborators. So I definitely wanted to make sure that we make mention of that.
Good. Is that Ron?
Yes, sir, it is.
Very good. Thank you, Ron. Yep, yep, we'll, try to reference that.
Yes, sir. And thank you to Nicole. I appreciate you.
And we appreciate both of you. All right, okay, before, we get too far along, other suggestions that anybody has about a specific section at this point?
For DCRC, I imagine we're gonna have to, update the information from, last year to this year.
Mhm.
I guess my question is, are they still like up and running?
They are still up and running. They have a permanent executive director who came on, I think in, May or June. They have been, closing down the CoC, funded rapid rehousing project that, was reallocated last year, but they continue to be a community partner, and a CoC partner as well, and a member agency. So, yep, they are still running, even if they don't have that, rapid rehousing project. So a lot of these questions regarding, particularly entry points, or excuse me, coordinated entry in 5C, et cetera, we'll be working with, Jeffrey Rawlings. I sent these to him, a lot of these questions to him in late, July, and I'm expecting to get, information from him, by the end of August. I do want to, if there's no other specific questions, I want to,
I do have one more thing.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, so with the recent update to VAWA, I think they're calling it VAWA 2022.
Mhm.
I think that's the new name.
Yep.
When you as a lead agency are working on the part of the application, I think it's 1C5E-ish, maybe,
Mhm.
where it talks about the emergency transfer plan. What I've been experiencing from those webinars that HUD has been doing is that like the CoC has to have an emergency transfer plan. Like, yes, it's cool if agencies have their own, but like the CoC needs to have one. And so I wanted to like ask, like, does our CoC have a emergency transfer plan?
We have not updated it to, VAWA 2022, but we do have an emergency transfer plan that was, approved by the HSAC, I think prior to, asking the CoC recipients and ESG recipients to, make sure they have an emergency transfer plan and, incorporate it into the leases and rental assistance agreements. So I'll reference that in this section. And I think, yeah, obviously as I mentioned at the top, we need to do a lot of updating, throughout. I want to, anything else, Ricky?
No, that's all for now. Thank you.
All right, well, thanks. So I want to, ask you, in reference to, let's see, what was it? Let me go to, I think it's street outreach. All right, 1D3. I don't know if you've taken a look at this, Ricky, but 1D3, describe your CoC's street outreach efforts, whether your street outreach covers 100% of geographic territory, how often it conducts it, and how your CoC tailored street outreach to persons experiencing homelessness or least likely to request assistance. I believe we sent out a copy of this earlier with the information from the previous year. I just want to make sure that this is still accurate. So if can you confirm that that's still accurate with your street outreach?
Yeah, I
Oh.
can take a look at this. I haven't gotten this far down in the collab application just yet, but I
Okay,
can reach out to our street outreach team to confirm. I do know that where we are, I think, needing more robust services is probably the edge of Durham that runs up against Wake County. So like that Highway 70 area, we're not out there as often as we probably could be, but I think in other areas, like, you know, we're definitely trying to concentrate in North Durham and in Durham County. You know, downtown we do fairly well. I'm not sure what area AP Smith does. I don't know if that's East Durham or whatever, but I will take a look at this and reach out to the street outreach team and get back in touch with you with any.
very good. Yeah,
updates.
if you could get me any updates for this by the end of next week, possibly, that would be great. And then I don't think we reference here a whole lot the street outreach work that Open Table Ministries has been doing.
Yeah, they do street outreach, and I know they go out to clients too. So that's something that might need to be updated of what areas they go to also.
Okay, yep, so that would be an important consideration as well, to try to incorporate some of that information. Okay, on this section of strategies to prevent criminalization of homelessness, I think we've done a pretty good job of ensuring homelessness in Durham is not criminalized. I'm not aware of any need to reverse criminalization policies that are in place in Durham, but we're willing to, we could, you know, we referenced the new community safety department as an important CoC strategy to let's see, I think we need to haven't finished this thought yet. We've got a limit of 500 characters, but we can say more about what the community safety team does, the community safety department in the heart.
Would it be fair here, Lloyd, to also talk about the crisis intervention team, like that aspect of the police department
Yep.
as well?
Yep.
Oh, it looks like Jeffrey Rawlings joined the call.
Very
Good to
good.
see you, Jeff.
No problem. Glad to be here. Had to finish up another one and jump in here.
Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you.
And Jeff, you may not have seen it yet, but I sent you a reminder earlier this morning about particularly the questions under 5, 1C, 5, I think.
I replied to your email.
Okay, very good.
Sure.
So On 1D5 here, total number of rapid rehousing beds, what's represented here right now is what's in the HIC. I'm gonna try to go into the HDX 2.0 and see if our longitudinal HMIS data gives us better information about the number of households served. Because this doesn't look very good, but
I mean, how are they
yeah.
asking for 2023 when we're still in 2023?
So the HIC reports are beds, rapid rehousing beds, as of the night of the point in time count in January. So that's
Okay.
what we had in January this year.
Well, I think, if there's room for explanation, I'm not sure if there is or not. But
There
I
isn't.
think if there's an opportunity to explain that we've been serving households longer, post-pandemic, post-eviction moratoriums. And that's why the
Yeah.
number of beds has decreased.
I think we talked about that in some places. I'm not sure, it might be under under system performance where we have opportunities to talk about that, but we do lose points for not increasing our the number of rapid rehousing beds. But for this particular table, again, I'll have to see what the longitudinal HMIS data shows in the HDX 2.0. And I'll look at the 5. APR, enter aggregate household data for all rapid rehousing projects regardless of funding source. So I'll take a look at that. I think we have we have rapid rehousing reporting groups that we can reference. Okay. Mainstream benefits, we did some training this year, so we had a session with a number of with DSS, and we need to continue that. And Nicole and Ron, as you provide training to your staff as well, we can hopefully make progress on that, on including other CoC staff, and continue to say yes for this. I don't know if there's other mainstream benefits that anybody is training people on.
I know DSS just had a training on the SNAP benefits and the Medicaid, and coordinate entry was part of that training.
Right.
We did.
Okay, I'll add Medicaid under other. All right, so this is kind of the I think it's still pretty accurate. But probably an area where we probably should be doing more is under training around SOAR. I know that the Disability Services Work Group, I need to confirm that that's still active. Anybody know whether the Disability Services Work Group is continuing to meet? You know, at one time they were doing a kind of SOAR 101 or SSI, SSDI 101 workshop or training, but not aware that there's any certifications going on. I can check with the state to see.
Yeah, I'm not aware of anything right now. Definitely will be on the lookout for it because that would be definitely something that I would like my team to participate in.
Right. Very good. Moving on, increasing capacity for non-congregate sheltering. This is going to be a challenge as we've lost capacity with the loss of ESV/CD funding, et cetera. But I think we will be talking here about what our plans are for like non-congregate shelter during the winter through White Flag Shelter with Open Table Ministry, and so this is gonna be significantly updated as well. So it still needs a lot of work. Partnering with public health is again something that kind of developed or was added to the collaborative application in response to COVID. We're, I think, working to maintain a relationship with the Department of Health and Human Services and Durham County Public Health. This is going to be, I think we have continued to meet monthly. We have an upcoming meeting on Monday. Sally Wilson has been moved to become kind of the coordinator of that group. As we're continuing to be aware that COVID is having a surge again. So this will be updated as well. It needs to be updated. At this point, we're kind of reviewing, but again, people, let's see, right now we've got, let's see, we've got 7 participants. Not that fine.
Lord, are these questions specific to COVID or?
No, they're more general.
Okay.
Describe how your CoC shared information related to public health measures and homelessness, facilitated communication between public health agencies and homeless service providers, et cetera. So limit effective. The detailed instructions really don't say much more than what's in the question here.
Okay.
In the application itself. So, but we'll be reviewing this in coming weeks and hopefully have updates for you to review next time. And as much as we can, we'll try to get a update to you ahead of the September 8th meeting. Although I'm going to be, let's see, I'm taking an extra holiday for Labor Day on Tuesday, September 5th. But hopefully I'll be able to do some work on this next week.
Yeah. Well, so one idea that comes to mind is I feel like the community development department is really good about sending out email blasts to community partners about different like health screenings or like clinic events, like mobile clinic events that may be happening. And so like, as long as the question doesn't directly ask about COVID, like I think we can say that, our CoC take seriously in informing our community partners and service agencies with, making sure that they are informed and informing the people that they serve with, upcoming like health screening opportunities that may be happening,
Okay,
blah, blah, blah. Jeffrey can clean that up because I'm sure that's what he loves to do. But I think wherever we can toot our horn, toot.
absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree. Thanks for that.
Indeed.
Yes, Jeff?
I said indeed.
Indeed, tis. All right, moving on, here's again, assessment process. Nicole and Jeffrey, I think this is probably pretty good, but can be updated, perhaps. I don't think,
So would we want to talk about the new thing that like Jeffrey's working on, like the new?
Yep.
Okay.
yep,
All right, Jeff, take note.
absolutely.
I am noting as we speak.
All right.
Okay.
More stuff about coordinated entry, 1D, 9A. How your CoC coordinated entry system reaches people who are least likely to apply for assistance, prioritizes people, and probably here we should be talking about somewhat about how the street outreach teams are working to connect people in the unsheltered community with homeless assistance.
And also mention the crisis team and the heart team because they get people to call in also with coordinated entry. So
Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be good.
Okay, so we want to reference heart, the outreach teams. Nicole, you said crisis intervention team officers also connect
yes,
people?
with Officer Beckett. Yes.
Yep. All right, very good. Thank you. That's helpful. I think we're doing pretty well in some of these areas. Homeless diversion is continuing to work successfully, Nicole, right?
Yes, it is.
Good. That's great. Marketing, housing and services. Rights and remedies. I think fair housing. This is a new question that we haven't answered at all. So we need to be working on a draft for that.
Wait a minute. What's that question? I'm sorry, the screen is, you know what? I have my own copy. Let me just pull it up on my thing.
1D,
The
9D.
question, yeah.
Describe-
Affirmatively markets housing and services provided within the CoC's geographic area. Affirmatively markets. What does that mean?
Let's see. This is question 9D. 9D, the headings in the detailed instructions say affirmatively markets means advertising housing and supportive services to eligible persons regardless of race, color, national origin, religion, sex, gender identity, sexual orientation, age, familial status, or disability that furthers fair housing as detailed in 24 CFR 578.93C. And informs program participants of their rights and remedies available under federal, state, and local fair housing and civil rights laws, and reports any conditions or actions that impede fair housing choice for current or prospective program employed participants in the jurisdictions responsible for certifying consistency with consolidated plan. For element 3 of this question, reporting conditions or actions, your response must describe your CoC's process for reporting observed conditions or actions that impede fair housing, which could include but is not limited to reporting impediments to fair housing while participating in the consolidated planning process of the jurisdiction in your CoC geographic area.
Well, they don't want a lot, do they?
Right. Are we doing any of that currently, Nicole or Ron? You're aware of?
I think we need to like marinate on this for a bit, right?
Yeah, because I mean, I know we have flyers. I mean, I do have out in the courthouse. I mean, anywhere we do have flyers about coordinated entry and what we do in our programs, but I'm not understanding more like, you know, Ricky said, the affirmative marketing. Like I'm just still trying to figure that out. What they're
So,
really asking for.
yeah.
So, my immediate thoughts are that upon enrollment in a program, participants will be informed of, you know, their rights available to them, like for a permanent housing, you know, project, for example, you know, we go through everything, you know, like fair housing, you know, we let them know that they won't be, you know, discriminated against based on, you know, all the federal covered things, right? But that's like at the project level. Is this question asking like at the broad CoC level, how we let people know about that?
I think we can pass the muster on this if we include the information regarding, it says regard to race, color, national origin, sex, religion, familial status, or disability. If we include that blurb along with the offerings, then that should satisfy the affirmative marketing steps. I'm looking at the information online regarding affirmative marketing because just like that, I had never heard of it. But looking it up, that's what it indicates, is that as long as the housing options are marketed along with the blurb indicating that it covers fair housing, that fair housing is considered, then that should satisfy it. According to lawinside.com, which gave affirmative marketing definitions in 268 samples. I didn't read all 268, but I read a few.
Right, so this might be something for Nicole and Ron to look at in terms of what is being communicated at Entry Point Durham.
Okay, I'll definitely look at that.
Yeah, so something that, I mean, are people accessing Entry Point Durham in person at all?
Yes, at the DSS office. We do have
Okay.
staff at the office and they are there from 8 to 5.
Okay, do we have any data on what percentage of Entry Point Durham clients are done in person? Versus,
I can get the data. Yeah, they're definitely, it's more still on the phone, but if they don't have a phone, they are coming into DSS because they use the DSS lobby phones.
okay,
And then if they want to speak to someone, we're right there. So we will
Right.
definitely come out and get them and speak to them in
so
person.
I'm just wondering if there's, you know, ways to, in addition to the brochures like at the Justice Center or at DSS, about general, you know, fair housing issues, that something specifically from coordinated entry that references these fair housing rights and remedies could be provided to people. So just a thought.
Okay. Yeah, we have a poster in our office, but definitely I'll definitely look into that.
Nicole, just to clarify, so should we be telling people to go there in person?
Yeah, so our Zoom line still works from, I mean, 8:30 to 8:30 to 8. So we answer 8:30 to 8, but if we are doing appointments, but if a client does come in the lobby and they're really wanting to see someone in person, we have 2 staff there. So every day, and I'm just trying to keep it still 6 feet apart. So
Right,
they
right.
are able to come in and see us. So they can go to lobby 27 at DSS, or they can go right when they pass the lobby, they go to the right and they'll see a big sign says coordinate entry office, and they can walk right there.
Okay, but the preference is for them to call to make an appointment to come in
Yes.
person?
Yes.
Okay, all
But
right,
if they don't have a phone, they can definitely come in and then we
Got it.
can work there.
got it. Okay, thank you.
You're
Appreciate it.
welcome.
I think we did have question 1D10 on last year's, application. I need to confirm when we last conducted a racial disparities assessment. I think it might have been done before, Hannah Holman left city employment. If we do, I'm not aware that we've done one since 2022. Maybe might have been done in 2021. I know we did the gaps analysis that Colleen Herbert's subcommittee of policy and planning completed earlier this year. But that was more of a youth disbursement. So lots of work to answer here. Let's see.
It was youth and people with mental health challenges, Lloyd.
Okay.
I don't know if
Right.
there's space to, toot our horn that we did that.
Right,
but
right.
we should.
We're gonna work on that. Strategies to address racial disparities. I think one of the things that we might highlight is that on the new project applications for CoC funds, we added 15 points to evaluate projects and organizations on equity issues. And we'll have to see how that shakes out, but I think we can reference some of that. 1D10C, addressing disparities. Not sure, Jeffrey, some of this may be in reference to assessments. Might be stuff that also needs updating. Hopefully this is still true as prioritization and referral discussions are occurring. Coordinated entry, it's having more reflective conversations with providers about assessments of need. So sometimes, I know, I think this a lot last year was based on what Hanalea had been doing. So we need to update this probably for this year. Here's what we reference the gaps analysis, and we'll be able to perhaps reference some of the work that was done on that. Tracking progress on preventing or eliminating disparities. Measures the CoC has in place. Okay, so we've got some work to do here. Preventing and eliminating disparities. Jeffrey, your recent evaluation of coordinated entry that was done for the state ESG application did not include any specific work on identifying racial disparities or disparities in the provision of outcomes and assistance, or did it?
No, it did not.
Okay. On D11, I think we're going to be including information here on the work that Anthony is beginning to pull together people with lived experience. It was talked about a bit in the ASAC meeting on Wednesday of this week. So we'll be talking further about that and updating that. Active participation of people with lived experience.
Is that like focus groups, or is it that like people with lived experience have, you know, invitations to participate in like, you know, policy making for the CoC?
I think it's gonna start with focus groups, but hopefully, end with, perhaps a regular meeting of people with lived experience who provide suggestions and input to either to policy and planning or directly to the HSAC. Not sure exactly, you know. It's going to be a consultation process, and I think based on the input we get is how it's going to impact kind of what is developed for the longer term.
Yeah, I think he's looking to he's looking at the guide of what other agencies have done, what other regions have done, and he's looking to integrate it into all parts of the CoC action so that there's a voice. And HUD is really pushing that there be a voice from people with lived expertise involved with all levels of decision making, including policy and procedure. And I think Anthony's doing the listening sessions, first one within the next 3 weeks, I think. First with just providers who have lived expertise, and then he wants to expand it and look to form a full subcommittee similar to what we had in the balance of state. When I was in the balance of state, we had it was a standing committee, and a standing committee with teeth. They established a Bill of Rights as well. So I think he's looking to grasp some of those things and pull them in, because they are part of what HUD is pushing, and very, very valid.
Right, right. And under 1D, 11B, and we'll highlight that now 2 people of our 7-person team in the lead agency staffing have lived experience of homelessness. And also on our evaluation of new project applications for CoC funding, we're asking about the percentages of people on the boards of the organizations that are applying, as well as the staff. What percentage of people have lived experiences of homelessness? So again, we'll, I think, be updating that.
Can I make a comment on something Jeffrey said? So, Jeffrey, in response to your comments on the last part, I think, you know, since this ain't due until September 28th, right? We can go ahead and we can put in that, you know, our CoC has begun, you know, the process of, you know, formalizing a, you know, person with lived expertise panel. And, you know, we can flesh out, you know, what the plan is for that group to continue to operate.
Yes, he's being very strategic about getting it in prior to our application being due. That's why the push to begin with is who's most easily accessible, and that's the people who are already working in the system. So if he gets them in, has that meeting, then that would qualify us for having made the first step. So he's being really strategic about who he's pulling.
Awesome.
Right. So to work to break open that a bit further, 1D 11A, the inspection says you must upload a letter signed by a working group attachment. And the attachments in the instructions say the letter must be signed by either at least 3 members involved in a working group comprised of individuals with lived experience. So, or an authorized representative. So if we have a work group that's composed of people with lived experience who are employed with our providers, that's a start, and that letter can, you know, be signed by at least 3 members and describe what we're doing to get people with lived experience more involved with our decision-making processes. Right. All right, so moving along, a lot of sections here, retuning, gathering feedback. Again, this would be need updating. The new number 3, the steps our CoC has taken to address challenges raised by people with lived experience. So we'll need to work on that. That's a new question. Increasing affordable housing supply. This is very broad and relates to really what is happening with the across the community. And I think the City Council recently approved revisions. And this kind of stuff that will be updated based on things that are happening at the City of Durham level. 1E, this again, we'll be talking about that. Need to review that to make sure it's current, but I'm pretty sure it is. Objective criteria, especially for well, for new and renewing projects, are looking at these kind of things. We generally scored well on the collaborative application for this. This is our old number. We only have, let's see, 7 renewal projects this year. No, excuse me, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I think we'll have 10 again because we've got 7 renewing projects submitting renewal applications. You know, those we're scoring, and then we've got the LGBTQ Center and NCCH. So I think we'll have 9, but most of the projects will be for permanent supportive housing again. So I think this is going to be pretty similar, but advancing racial equity. No, there's much here that's changed, but we will see what we do. So there's no number 4 in the question this year. So. We're not reallocating any projects this year. We did reallocate last year. This should have been yes, I think last year was an error, but we will get that sorted for this year. And this is part of really describing our processes. I think we'll be rejecting one of the other project applications because we have applications seeking more funding than we have available, even under tier 2, which is a good thing. We'll have to see how that works, but obviously this is going to be all yes. All right, so HMIS pretty much given. We are compliant with I have a good relationship, I think, with the HMIS agency. Bed coverage rates, this is where we lose a few points. Did get this information entered into this chart. Bed coverage rates, where we lose points is for other permanent housing beds where we don't have a 85% or more of bed coverage.
And this is based on what?
This is based on information in our HIC, our housing inventory count.
So for the other permanent housing, is it only pulling from HMIS, or is it following up with agencies who don't participate in HMIS as well?
Well, so this is the explanation for partial credit for 2A-5A. The other permanent housing is emergency housing vouchers and housing choice vouchers dedicated for occupancy by formerly homeless people. We're saying HUD requires that we include these beds on units in our HIC, but there is not a requirement that the Public Housing Authority, which manages these units, uses the HMIS for client files of people occupying these beds. Without such a requirement, it's doubtful that the CoC will be able to make progress. We continue to encourage Durham Housing Authority to use the HMIS to manage these units, but it's not a priority for this PHA. But I think last year we lost 2 points because we don't have that. We submitted, I would say, point in time count. Let's see, so far, where we, going forward and working with, your team, Ricky, where we didn't have as much, planning, I would say, in the 2023 count as we did for the 2022 count, was effectively counting youth in our point in time count. So in our unsheltered point in time count. So you may want to try to figure out ways where we can effectively do more to engage unaccompanied youth and youth serving organizations in the planning for the 2024 point in time count.
Yeah, I think that's been a challenge for our community for,
right,
a number of years.
Yeah. We made a special effort for the 2022 count because it was kind of a new thing that we didn't do as much for 2023 because we thought that was kind of a one-time thing from HUD, but it wasn't. So we'll continue to work on that for 2023.
Okay.
But I want to highlight that for you for next year. And we'll be talking about that. System performance. This is an area where a lot of this whole section system this is 2C system performance. A lot of this is based on the data that HUD already has, but we are also then, it asks us to describe the risk factors, et cetera, and our strategies to address individuals and families at risk of becoming homeless, et cetera. So there is narrative, I think, with each of the system performance measures as to what we're doing to positively impact our system performance measures. So this also needs to be updated. And again, we've not done a lot of work on this. I don't know, I think we're moving away, right, Jeffrey, from using the Smartsheet application for our by name list. I don't know when that's going to happen. But
We've already done so.
Okay.
The
So
list still exists, but we're not working coordinated from that. We're working it straight from HMIS.
okay, so we need to update this to reflect that. And I'll probably continue to say that this lead agency is responsible for overseeing strategies. We didn't score particularly well on system performance measures last year. Perhaps because they didn't like some of our strategies, I'm not sure, but we need to look at strengthening our strategies. Move on strategies. We will, I think, can highlight that renewal projects do get bonus points on our evaluation tool for moving people on for a higher percentage. We talked about that here. The tool for evaluating performance awards bonus points with higher percentages of exits to other permanent housing. See a misspelled there. Didn't catch that last year. Who proofread this last year? All right, moving right along. So you see we've got a lot of work to do, but hopefully we can make progress over the next couple of weeks on on this. What I do want to highlight, I wasn't sure that we were going to have a new DV bonus project this year, but especially Joe Daly, are you still with us?
Yes.
All right. Hopefully you haven't fallen asleep.
No.
All right. Jobs and unemployment, et cetera. We're coming up to section 4, 3A. Ricky, you haven't gotten any formal written commitments for your expansion projects, have you?
No,
Or healthcare resources?
no, nothing formal.
Okay. I think 3C, okay, this is generally going to be no. Bill, what I want to highlight for you is that in addition to the project application for DV bonus funding, there is a section of the collaborative application that asks about whether we're submitting a new DV bonus project. And we're saying yes, because we understand companies moving forward is going to be submitting not only a renewal of last year's DV bonus project, but also seeking an expansion of that project by applying for an additional $213,219 in this year's competition. What we need to do here is assess the need for more rapid rehousing for survivors of domestic violence. We'll be working on that. And HUD asks for how we calculated the need, etc. This hasn't, we had some text in here from last year. We've not yet copied and pasted into this year's application, so we've got some work to do there. But we will be trying to work closely with you, Joe, and your team at Families Moving Forward to make sure this whole section is accurate and up to date. Just to be aware of that. So we've already got your name in here. We don't know yet what your ranking is going to be on the priority listing, but we'll be getting that. The rate of housing placement, etc. Need to talk about how we calculated those rates, etc. All right. So, and we do have some data from the DCRC's report to the Department of Administration at the state of North Carolina. Jeffrey, we also have some data from Entry Point, right? The coordinated entry system as to how many people were fleeing domestic violence and contacting Entry Point. And I think you're suggesting that data was, if I recall, larger than last year, if I recall.
You have a call from 97.
Jeffrey, you're on mute.
You have a call from 97.
My answer was yes.
Okay, so yeah, so we'll be relying on that as well. So you can see that here about well, Monday of this coming week will be August 28th, which is 31 days before this application is due to HUD, but we need to get it approved by the HSAC and posted to the website, I think at least 2 or 3 days before it is formally submitted to HUD. So we've got a lot of work to do as a community and certainly within the CoC lead agency to get all of this information updated for this year. And unless anybody has questions about any of this information or wants to provide more input, we'll adjourn for today.
Lloyd,
Yes.
just
thank you.
looking for that opportunity. That's all I need. Just get a
Good.
foot in the door. So I think what might be helpful before we get together next time is, is there a way that your team could send out maybe sections or, particular questions that are needed for like this body to look at and add context to? Like, today was good to kind of like get to the end of the document and see all the needs, but like it was just, it's too much to absorb in like a 90-minute session, right? So like if there are specific things that would be helpful to get this application, put together, and specific items that you'd like us to provide feedback on, like if your team is able to send those questions out before we get together next time, that might be helpful. Like I got the note that you have for street outreach. I know you asked Joe of some things and Nicole for coordinated entry to provide some stuff, but like just to have it written down, like this is, what we're needing, where we're going, like that could be helpful.
Yeah. I appreciate the suggestion. I think my primary focus for the next couple of weeks is probably going to be focusing on actually getting, doing updating and getting information, particularly for section 4, regarding the DB bonus, copy and pasting. So I'll see where I am at the end of next week. And I mean, I can send this document to y'all. It is only 69 pages. And people can scroll through it. But I don't want to promise something that I can't deliver to you, because I'm going to concentrate on getting it updated by September 8th, and we'll see where we are.
Yeah, so Lloyd, if you can send that, and then Jeffrey, we'll get together and kind of collaborate on what we need to say and update for the COs for coordinated entry.
Okay. So I think Ricky, you're asking for it to be in bites so that we can zero in on whatever area each person has to work on, correct?
Yeah, just to make it more digestible, easier to understand, what we're focusing on and need to, maybe provide more input or feedback on.
So Lord, after you're doing that, if you'd like, our team can get together or do it in our meeting where we can, because I'm going to go back and listen to and take notes on this recording. I'm going to go back to the recording because a lot of things that I wrote down that out of context of the video may not make sense to me. So I want to go back and add that. So after doing that, and after you have went through the full document, if you'd like to get together with the team, I was texting Anthony as we were talking. So the answers I was giving were coming directly from Anthony. So if our team comes together and we can do that, we can certainly work together, and I'd be more than willing to help you with that, to kind of section it off a little bit, add some names of people who have accepted things as assignment. Again, Sally wasn't here, but there's some things that she has. So if we can get some names attached to it to send it back out, I'll certainly work with you to do that if that's agreeable to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it's a team effort, and I appreciate everybody's participation today. And I mean, we'll send out by noon this document to y'all, and then we can. I think Ricky, at least a few things that you can start working on. Joe, you have questions, suggestions as well. And Joe, I'll try to send you sections from last year's collaborative application relative to the DB bonus project as well.
Great, thank you.
All right, enough for today. Thank you all. Appreciate your participation today. And Danielle Butler also may have some input for this, as she had specifically asked about getting a recording. So Ruby's going to get me a recording to send, and we'll distribute the recording to you guys as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Lloyd.
Appreciate it. Have a great
Great
weekend.
weekend.
Thanks, everyone. Enjoy your day.
Take care. Bye-bye.